We did bingo one night, which was so much fun. Leighton was doing really good, like getting all the numbers. He only had 2 numbers left. And if they called his number, I mean, I know it's all luck. If they called his number, he would have won. He would have beat all of us. And some older lady, like somebody's grandma won.
Yeah.
Leighton was bawling, crying that he lost because they get so competitive. And I go, Leighton, it's a game.
They were so tired. This was the second to last night.
Yeah.
Right?
And Jeff goes, somebody's grandma won. You need to be happy for her. And Leighton's like, I don't care. I wanted to win. Hey guys, episode 251. This is part 2 of our Disney trip. We finished talking about Disney World, going to all the different parks, and then now we are about to start Disney Cruise.
Yeah, that was a lot. We're tie-tie. So if our enthusiasm isn't quite there, it's Sunday.
We just got back Friday.
Yeah.
And then we have been, like, we did yard work all day yesterday. It's just like you and I have not just sat on the couch and just relaxed.
Yeah, so we got back on Friday, which was my birthday. And so as soon as we got back, we were exhausted from the flight and the whole week and stuff like that. Then my neighbor's like, oh man, happy birthday, let's celebrate. So then we celebrated with them. And then Saturday we did all yard work. And then today we had a birthday party.
Yeah.
It's like, and I got to go to work tomorrow. So tomorrow, back at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Don't you sometimes, and anybody out there, like after you've been on a good trip and then it's like, oh, I got to go back to work. Like, do you get depressed?
For sure.
Like the blues.
I'm already dreading just walking down the hall.
Yeah.
Like in the work, like,
ugh. Yeah.
Especially after you've been on a cruise and you're in the pool
somewhere
in the
like the
Caribbean.
Bahamas.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, now I'm back at this place again. But anyways, okay. So we had to be down in the lobby, 9:15, meet everybody. We had to check in, show your passport, all that stuff for the Disney cruise. We get on the charter buses. It takes us to the Disney Wish ship. That's the one we got on.
Yeah.
We get on the Disney Wish ship. Jeff and I felt like pros because we did Celebrity Cruise before. And so since we did the 2 weeks with Celebrity, we felt like we knew what we were doing, but even though we didn't really know what we were doing. You need to download the app if you are doing the Disney Wish. That will help you greatly with finding times, activities, things to do on the boat.
Yeah, you can't do everything. There's so much to do.
So much to do.
And then you could heart it like in the app, and then it reminds you about the activity.
Right. So another thing that I showed on my Amazon Live that was very helpful was I got my first autograph book, like Disney autograph book. And I bought one for Leighton. Lawson, I thought would be like, oh, I'm too cool for it. So I did get Lawson one and then I returned it. And a friend told me to get one. And it's really helpful because we got to see the characters on Disney Cruise because Disney World, they are there, but the lines were crazy. And I was like, we're going on a Disney Cruise. We're going to be able to take pictures on the boat. So let's just save it for that. And then that was something, a highlight Leighton looked forward to each day. And then Lawson got on the train and was like, I want signatures. I want my pictures with it. So it's going to be really cute because I'm going to print off all the photos of Leighton with all like Mickey Mouse signatures, Goofy, Pluto, all of them. And, but we walk in, when you walk on the Disney Wish ship, they ask you for your last name and they introduce every single person that walks on that ship.
So you get like a little introduction.
Yeah. And then for us, everybody's different. It depends on what time you get on the ship. For us, it was Cinderella, I believe, or Belle. I think it was Belle that was up there and she's waving to you up top. And then it was nice because we were kind of the first ones on the ship. We were group 2 and we got to kind of explore the ship before it got really crowded with a bunch of people. So that's kind of what we wanted to do. That's what we've done on Celebrity Cruise is we like to kind of know where we're going. So there were a couple spots like the kids loved this basketball court that they had and they had all these games. And so I would make notes in my phone, like floor 10 is where the basketball courts are because I would always forget where things
you get
were.
lost. It's so big.
Right. And then another spot on there is it's Inside Out theme, and it's an ice cream store, and they got candy, and it's so cute in there, and it's all the different colors. We got you a birthday cupcake, and we just walked around the ship with that, and then we went straight to the pool. That's
right, because they tell you like bring stuff on just in case your bags aren't there and your room's not ready. Bring pool stuff so you can hang out there, and that's what we did. And we actually didn't know it was our mistake because on Celebrity Cruise there's just food everywhere, and there is too on Disney, but they have specific dinners, and I forgot about that because when I was a kid, you kind of remember those dinners and you remember your waiter. Right, you know that's like a big part of the cruise. So we missed our dinner that was at 5:45 because we were playing and our bags weren't there when we checked back a little earlier. So like, let's just hang out at the cruise and we'll just eat at the cafeteria, whatever. Right. We don't need the fancy dinner tonight. The kids are playing. They're good. So we missed our dinner, but that was a mistake. So if you do go on that cruise, make sure you hit your dinner times. Yes. Because they're all themed and it's a big part of the experience. But we ended up eating at Goofy's.
It's like Goofy's Grill, I believe.
Yeah, so they have hamburgers and hot dogs and
it's good hamburgers. Yeah. It's very good hamburgers. So that's what we ate. It was very chill because we didn't get our bags till later. And we just stayed in our bathing suits, ate at Goofy's Grill, and then more so just like walked around the ship and explored it and just watched on the screen. Like they have movies playing on the big screen in the middle of the ship that you can watch.
There's always
something going on.
Yeah, always.
And then like looked for a couple characters to see some signatures just to distract the kids. And then day 2, was it day 2? We were in the Bahamas. Or am I wrong? We were sailing.
Yeah, I think day 2 we were in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's right. So day 2, we were in the Bahamas. That was my favorite day. You could see the Atlantis from where we docked. And if you go and you get off the ship, just walk through everything where it's super touristy and walk towards, not Margaritaville, what is it called? Senor Frogs. Walk by Senor Frogs, and there's a lady there at this counter, and she will collect money, and there's a private beach area that you pay to go on, and it's all gated, so you don't have to worry about somebody taking your stuff, because that was my thing going to a public beach over there was one of us is always going to have to sit here. You know, it's not in a very touristy spot.
What was the name of the hotel? You remember?
British of Colonial.
It's a really nice hotel.
Really nice.
You'll actually, if you're taking that cruise, you'll see it coming in. You'll be like,
it's yellow.
That's a really nice beach and a really nice hotel. And that's where we ended up going. It was worth the money because we stayed there all day. All day.
The kids were in the water. I'm not joking. For 4 hours straight. Jeff walked to go get them snorkels. And that's all they did. They just looking at the fishes, looking at the crabs. Leighton was running around the beach chasing lizards. And the people that worked there were so friendly, so helpful, so nice. I told Jeff, I go, we're totally flying to the Bahamas again with the kids, and we're staying at that hotel.
Yeah, they were so great. I mean, our guy from getting us the chairs and then all the activities are free. You could do like little water.
Yep. And it's included.
And stuff. Yeah.
Because if you pay to go in there, they don't charge extra to do any of the stuff that they have. Yeah. I personally didn't think like the drinks were overpriced.
Pretty par for the course. Yeah.
They just work off tips. That's what they ask you is to tip them. And then Jeff and the guy became BFF and had a heart to heart. And we're talking about
this
jobs.
Young kid who grew up there
in the Bahamas,
the Bahamas, was telling me like, I don't know, I just like inspiration. I like driving people, and not only hearing their stories, but it also inspires me for somebody that like has dreams, you know? So he like pushed the kids out and they're riding, and then we're just talking, and he's like, I grew up here, and he's like, one day the lighthouse in front got the top blew off in a storm. He's like, I want to do that for my city. I want to put the top back on. And he goes, I know a great snorkel spot right on the other side of that island. I want to take little tour buses there. He goes, I already see it in my head, you know? And I was like, buddy, if I could help you, I'm like, you have Instagram or something? Like,
and he didn't.
I'm like, well, you got to get social media. I'm like, you're so personable. I talked to him for like 2 hours. I'm like, you're so personable. I'm like, everyone you meet, just be like, hey, give me a follow. And he goes, I want to start small. My buddy said I could use his boat and start, but one day I want my own fleet of ships. Like he really had a dream, and he had a vision of what he wanted.
Yeah, he was like, I want to better myself.
And I was telling him like, listen, man, I'm like, you ever see the show Shark Tank? And he's like, oh yeah, I watch it all the time. I'm like, and he goes, you were on that? And I go, no. I go, but I interviewed all those people. And I go, you know what, man? I go, I've been saying I want to start my own business for a while, and I haven't. And I go, I don't even take my own advice. I'm like, you know what they all told me? I interviewed all of them. And I go, what's the best advice you give a young entrepreneur? And every single shark goes, just do it. Yeah. Start today. There's never going to be a perfect time. Start now. And I've been telling myself that, and I still haven't started my Jardiniere business. And I told him about that. And he's like, what's Jardiniere? I'm like, don't worry about it. And I was like, but I'm like, dude, just do it now. Just start now. And he's like, I'm going to start, man. How do I get in touch with you? I'm like, well, I can't do anything for you. I'm like, if you get social media, I'll post for you and stuff, but I'm like, we're going to come back. And I go, I want to see you.
I was like, this guy's going to be staying at our house. I think Jeff invited him to our house.
I did. I loved it. He's a good kid.
And then we were telling him places to go. I told him, I was like, come here and visit Colorado. But he was so sweet. And and then he told us, he goes, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. If you have a beer, drink water after that.
Yeah.
Because it's so hot.
And he's like, the sun's very hot here. I'm like, it's all right. I need to get a little color, Man, I got fried that day.
Fried. And the boys, I felt like I kept spraying them. They had probably 10 layers of sunscreen on because I was so worried that they were going to be blistered. And they got so much sun, and I sprayed because
they were snorkeling for 4 hours, so they're back. But we sprayed them like a million times.
And then I was making Leighton wear his sun protected shirt in the ocean, and they didn't like that too much. But I was like, you have to like protect your skin. But anyways, so we were there all day. And then we went back to the ship. I think it was leaving at 5:30.
Yeah, so we did have the dinner. So then we finally went back to that dinner.
And our server was so sweet. He was like, where were you guys? Y'all weren't here last night. And I was like, oh, well, we didn't really know that we had to come. We messed up. So then I was like, listen, we'll make it up for you. We'll give you a little extra just because you probably missed out on that money from last night.
Yeah, and he was so good. They do magic. Well, our guy did magic tricks for the kids. So they love, even like the next couple of days, like, are we going back? Do we have the same server? Could he do magic?
Yeah.
Like he was really great.
And one thing too that I like is the ship is very clean. Like, don't let the news scare you away because all you hear is about whatever viruses are going around.
And their kids club was very clean.
So clean.
Really organized. We didn't put our kids in it, but we went down there because you could see characters in there.
Right.
Black
our kids
Panther,
like being
Spider-Man.
with us.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're not going to make you go to kids club if you don't want to. And they're with us all the time.
But they do have, like, you put your kids in kids club and then you could go to your own private dinner, like a nice restaurant. But we just wanted our kids with us. So we chose not to do that. Yeah.
But when you go to kids club, they have this cool hand wash where you stick your hand in. I wish they had those everywhere.
Lawson's like, I'd be way more cleaner if I had this at home.
I know. And you just stick your hand in and it washes and soaps your hands. And it's like super fast and it feels really good on your hands. So everywhere you go, if you go anywhere around food, they make you wash your hands or give you a wipe. You have to clean. So it's very clean. Our room was extremely clean. Our stateroom guy was so sweet too and really did an amazing job. And then Jeff and I, like days that we were always doing something with the boys, then we would always go back to like around 4:00, go back to the room and let the boys kind of unwind. Like 3:30, we would go back to the room because they've been out in the sun all day. We'd be like, okay, everybody will turn on a Disney show. You guys can relax. And that's great because you can watch any Disney show on the ship and you don't have to pay for it. And they would lay down, unwind. Then Jeff and I would go sit on the balcony and then we would do 2 hours of like happy hour, 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
The dinner was at 5:45.
Well, if it was like 3,
like an hour,
like 3, if we went, some days it was like 2 hours and we just sit out there and talk because we were with our kids and that was the only time like you and I could like talk.
Yeah.
And so we would have a couple drinks out there and then we would start our dinners. And then after dinners, that's like when we would look at our activities. Like, okay, what can we do tonight? Like, is it trivia? tonight. We did bingo one night, which was so much fun. And there was a grand prize of $5,000. So Jeff was like, we're going to go. We're going to do this. So we signed the boys up too to play. And Leighton was doing really good, like getting all the numbers. He only had 2 numbers left. And if they called his number, I mean, I know it's all luck. If they called his number, he would have won. He would have beat all of us. And some older lady, like somebody's grandma, won.
Yeah.
Leighton was bawling, crying that he lost because they get so competitive. And I go, Leighton, it's a game.
They were so tired. This was the second to last night.
Yeah.
Right?
And Jeff goes, somebody's grandma won. You need to be happy for her. And Leighton's like, I don't care. I wanted to win. He was so upset. But that was probably one of my favorite nights was the bingo night. And then the silent disco. We took the kids.
Yeah.
And that was for all families, not just adults. And they were so into it. Our kids.
We did trivia one night, and I was writing down with the kids.
Yeah.
And we were just having fun. And then I wrote like the last one. I was like, you guys did a really good job.
Yes.
And then he goes, well, somebody said we did a good job. And Lawson was like, that was my dad. And so then they gave him like a prize. They gave him like this cross bag with his autograph book in there. And then he started getting autographs. But he loves that thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, they gave me that just because you were nice, Dad. I'm like, see, it pays to be nice to people.
Right.
You know?
And they had Lawson and Leighton when we were at the Bahamas. There was a young boy that he's probably 4 or 5 that they were chasing around lizards with. And the little boy just would like look up to our kids and just want to hang with them. And it was so cute at silent disco. Like he would like grab our boys' hands and jump and want to dance with them. I have a video of it. It's so cute.
It was fun, yeah. And then one night they had fireworks off of the ship.
Yeah.
And we found really good seats.
Where do you go?
I don't know. I don't even know how we found it.
Go by the Toy Story.
So that was pirate night.
Yeah, pirate night's the last night.
And we used our pirate stuff that I put on Amazon Live.
Yeah. And then that's where you go. You go by the Toy Story area. That's where we were. And you're like on the side of the ship, but it's to the right. Wherever the ship is heading, you go to the right,
the starboard side.
Yeah. And it was perfect because they were shooting the fireworks above us. So, and our kids too, at that time, it was like 10:30. We were trying to keep them awake.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
And then,
because you're doing stuff all day. I mean, getting up at 7 to meet characters till like, and there was parties till like 12, 1, like, for other people, but we were wiped.
And everybody we met I met so many there was either Southern people or British people on the ship. I kept hearing all these British accents.
I don't know.
But all these Southern people, like listening to their accents, I was like, oh, and they're so nice. And I was in line with this one lady. I like wanted to be her best friend. She was so sweet. And it was their first Disney cruise too. And I was telling her like all these documentaries to watch. And then the lady in front I didn't know she was listening. And she like turned around and goes, oh, I second that one. That one's really good too. That girl was crazy. And like, then we all start talking about like murder documentaries. Everybody was very friendly, very helpful on the ship. What else?
They do a good job entertaining. And then
they run a good.
So we saw 3 plays. So they did three nights of entertainment that you could go. They have a theater on board. So we saw 3 plays. And then that last night we played bingo before dinner. We went to this Marvel dinner. It was so cool. They had like Ant-Man and Paul Rudd talking in there and stuff. And it's like interactive. You could press the button, all this stuff. Great dinner. But Leighton fell asleep during dinner, which there was all this stuff going on. And I was like, man, he's really tired. Out. So he didn't even, I was like shaking. I'm like, Jordan's like, is he okay? And I was like, I think he is. And then they actually went back to the room. And that was the last night. You guys went back to the room. I
really wanted to go it was the Aladdin show. And I really wanted to see that. And Leighton, we get back to the hotel room and he goes, I'm so tired, Mom. And I go, I'm going to put on Coco for you. I'll stay in the room with you. And I told you and Lawson to just go. And Leighton didn't wake up till 8:30 the next day and then was off the walls, like just talking and Mom,
Yeah.
what are we doing? What's going on? What time are we getting off the
That
ship?
Aladdin show was really good.
I know.
It was really good.
And Lawson, I know it's really good when Lawson just kept reciting like the words that he was saying and laughing. We did see The Little Mermaid, I thought was good. That was one of the shows we saw. I always like watching the shows.
The first day was good too.
Oh, yeah.
So there was the first day was, I forgot what show that was.
But they were dressed like 1920s.
Yeah, that was a good show. Then the second night was the fireworks. Then Little Mermaid, and then Aladdin. So they had something every night for everybody. But Jordan didn't go to the Aladdin show. But I mean, I don't know if this will ever get back to this guy, but whoever played the genie was hilarious.
Jeff said he like stole the show.
Stole every single scene he was in. Like he was like an old Broadway guy, like jazz hand. But I mean, when it was his time, just blew it up. Like everything was a joke, nonstop. Brr, 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 brr.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I wanted to meet that guy after the show. I'm like, I wanted to tell him how good of a job he did.
Oh.
Yeah, he did really, really good job.
Yeah.
Like he should be on TV or in the movies or something. He was that good.
Well, I thought everybody was very like.
Oh, they were all talented, but this guy like stole the show.
Yeah. And everybody was,
I mean, there was
I'm
great
sure
singers and stuff like that, but Lawson was cracking up.
You can't do videos when you're in there. Like you can't show. There was towards the end of The Little Mermaid, I tried to do like a little snip so I could post on Instagram, but not give anything away.
Yeah.
Because Jeff's like, you're going to get in trouble. Because I snuck my phone out. And then I feel like we're missing something. I mean, guys,
so much.
I know, I'm trying to think. I'm like, is there a moment I can think of that was like funny? I mean, there was so many things that.
It was like just nonstop.
I think it's great. Like if you take your grandparents with you and the whole family, it's like a generational thing. I think it's so great to have your family and to have grandparents too.
Yeah,
I saw so many grandparents on this. Because again, like we were saying, there's something for everyone on the ship. So there's something also too for your grandparent. Like I was thinking like, oh, my dad would love going into here. I know he'd sneak off and go in the Star Wars bar.
Yeah. And then we left out the Disney Island.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. That's a huge part of, okay. So
after the Bahamas, you go
to the Disney Island, Castaway.
Castaway Key or something.
Yeah. So we go there and then it was raining. It was like lightning when we got there. And we just got under an umbrella and I just told the boys, I was like, y'all have to ride it out. All the kids, it's just like, they just want to be in the water so bad. And I was like, play in the sand, figure it out. We got virgin pina coladas and they tasted so good because it was so hot. And it's rained for what, an hour?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Then it cleared up.
And then it cleared up and then it was beautiful. You guys went snorkeling.
Yeah.
I don't really love snorkeling. It's not my favorite.
It was cool.
So I let Jeff and the boys do that. That was their thing. I sat with my pina colada in the chair and just watched you guys. And then I got
food, like a buffet, all included. All
included. Everybody again was super helpful, nice. They also have like this climbing area in the ocean, like where kids can swing from like a rope, and you got a video of Leighton doing that.
Yeah.
And jumping in the pool. Our kids love chasing the fish that you could see because the water was so clear. And then they have this cool little bar where you can go get frozen drinks, smoothies. That's what we got. And then, we stayed there and we just swam. There's
a stingray area. You can swim with the stingray.
And I mean, we were there for a couple hours and then Jeff and the kids could thank me for this. I go, guys, there's another storm coming in. We need to like get out of here. Perfect timing. We were getting back on the ship and it was pouring down rain.
Yeah, when we walked down.
Yeah, but it was nice. It's very relaxing at that Castaway shore, their little island, and it's just all families, kids everywhere just playing. I mean, it's a kid's paradise.
It is, but I'm over.
Jeff's like, I'm over kids and I'm over people right now.
And then we went to a kid's birthday party this morning. I was like, kids were just running around.
It was Sam
splashing.
that used to work with Jeff at DBL.
She did a great job. It was a great party, but I'm like, this isn't the day.
You
I
had
just
fun,
need to relax.
though.
I did have fun. It was great. But I'm ready to kind of get back into a routine. I haven't worked out. I'm so bloated and fat.
That's how I feel. Like super bloated. You're all the kids, there's no routine. I keep thinking they got school tomorrow and you have work tomorrow. I'm like, I got to get on some type of schedule with these kids because it's just like, well, what are we doing tomorrow? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? And they're playing out with the kids till like 10 o'clock at night. And I mean, we're out there sitting in our lawn chairs, but I'm like, this isn't going to happen every single night.
Oh, I can't take it. They're out there right now. When I'm like,
they're out there playing. But in all, it was a wonderful trip. I think it was a great bonding time. I would totally do it again. I really liked Disney World more than I thought I would.
Yeah, it was great.
Just because I like going in not knowing.
Right, because then you explore and figure out new things. I like it too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, people made it way more complicated than it had to be. Like giving us advice.
Oh my gosh.
And it was over. Just go. I know it's overwhelming if you do plan a trip there. It's not that overwhelming. They're super organized, especially on the cruise. I mean, there is a time schedule for everything. It's not like, just go at your own pace. It's like there's something for everything. So they're very organized. Everyone's very helpful. I felt
very safe.
Yeah.
Very, everywhere we went. And again, like anywhere where there's like blue water, like that clear water.
Oh, man.
It's just like so calming and you're just like at peace. And I talked to this lady, she was from the Caribbean, and she was like, I don't shower when I've been in the ocean. I go, I don't either. And she's like, you'd fit in really well with us. Cause I didn't shower like when I would get in the ocean. And then one day I could smell myself and I was like, oh, I got to get in the shower. But the lady was talking about it too. She was like, it's so good for your skin.
Yeah, it was a good trip. But back at it.
Yeah.
This
back
week.
to the grind.
That's right.
So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. And if you go to Disney, you should book it because you will love it. You won't regret it. And I hope some of the tips we had were good. And if you have any other questions, DM me on Insta. But we will see you next time. Bye.